Hi, this is John with Fix It Planet. Today we got a Blackberry Priv, and this one's charging port is not charging anymore. But the charge port itself doesn't look bad from the outside. I'm going to check and see, but it looks like it just needs to be resoldered. And somebody's been in this phone before, so you can tell some of the adhesive around this keyboard's not holding well, so we'll put some fresh adhesive on it before we put it back permanent. And I also noticed the three buttons on the right, volume up, volume down, and the center button, which is a toggle switch for the volume. That one's actually missing, so somebody's definitely been in this phone before. So I imagine when you're running your tool along the side to pop the back off, they probably knocked it off. So be careful of that when you're opening these. Around those buttons, you want to be extra careful that you don't knock them off. It doesn't use Phillips screws. It uses T3, T4, T5, something like that. I think it's a T3, but I can't remember now. So we'll disconnect the battery before we do anything else, and then we'll take all these screws out. We want to get the motherboard out so we can inspect the charge port, put a new one on, or resolder this one, whatever we need to do. And this film here is kind of thin, so just be careful when you're lifting that up so you don't rip it all up. We can just move it out of our way. There's a couple of plastic caps on the bottom. One's going over the headphone jack, then another one's going over the speaker. And the one over the speaker has got some sticky adhesive holding it down. So it's kind of hard to pry that up. You just have to cut through the adhesive. There's also a flex cable plugged in on the underside of the motherboard. So before you just go pulling it straight up out of there, once you've got all the other connectors loose, be careful. We'll show that here in a moment. And there's a little clip right here where I'm trying to loosen this and get it off this little clip so I can get the rest of this off. And as I said before, it's got some sticky stuff holding it down, so we're going to cut through some of that adhesive, and that will help us to get it loose. Most of it stays pretty well intact, so we can reuse it without too much trouble. This connector has a little bit of adhesive holding it down on that metal shielding, so just kind of be careful prying that up. These two are just regular pop connectors. And then there's we'll be able to lift the board up now, but we'll need to be careful that we don't rip this cable underneath. So we'll disconnect that one right here, and we'll be able to take the board all the way out and set the phone to the side while we work on it. So we'll remove this little bit of copper shielding there, and we'll be able to see that yes, indeed, this port has come completely loose, but the pads are all still intact, so we will just be able to resolder everything. We'll just be sure and put plenty of solder on the joints so it doesn't come loose again. So I'm going to show what I can as closely as I can with this camera. This is about as close as it really gets before it starts to get blurry. So we're going to add solder to all 4 of the legs. And then we'll add solder to the pins. And we'll touch it up under the microscope and we'll show the result afterwards. Just a quick glance through the microscope. I don't have my microscope camera yet, but I did get the new microscope, so eventually I'll get that camera and I'll be able to show what I'm doing under the microscope. So I'm just going to clean off some of this excess flux, and I'll touch it up under the microscope and we'll take a look at it. And when I'm done. So it's not the best picture. The pen on the far right didn't turn out as well as I would have liked, but I got plenty of solder on everything, so that should hold well. Just put this little bit of shielding back. We'll start with that cable underneath there, lay the board back down, go ahead and put our pop connectors back in. Put our plastic caps back on. And get all our screws put back. So this repair was from start to finish. Most of my repair videos are done that way. I just like to do them from start to finish, so they may be a little boring at times, but if you've never done the repair, it's nice to see the process from beginning to end. Now we can go ahead and put our battery connector back in. Put these last couple of screws in. Make sure the volume and power keys are laying flat on the side of the frame, that they haven't come loose or come out. They're actually stuck on with a little bit of adhesive, and then they've melted some of the a couple of plastic posts in there, so they shouldn't be coming out at all, but whoever worked on this phone before me had, I guess, messed with them, thinking they were going to fix it, and then never did. So the center button on this side here doesn't work, but the volume up and down still works. So customer is not complaining about that. They just want the phone to charge. So after I tested everything and made sure it was working, I came back and put some fresh adhesive on the keyboard. We're just going to plug it in, make sure it's working, and it is. So I have a couple of these charge ports just in case if we had needed to replace it, but we didn't have to. Just needed to be resoldered. So that's basically it for this repair, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye now.